Now, in the United States, U.S. Senator Bernie Sanders has dropped out of the race to become the Democratic presidential nominee. That leaves former Vice President Joe Biden as the presumptive challenger to President Donald Trump in November. Sanders says it was a tough choice.
I know that there may be some in our movement who disagree with this decision, who would like us to fight on to the last ballot cast at the Democratic convention. I understand that position. But as I see the crisis gripping the nation, exacerbated by a president unwilling or unable to provide any kind of credible leadership, and the work that needs to be done to protect people in this most desperate hour, I cannot, in good conscience, continue to mount a campaign that cannot win and which would interfere with the important work required of all of us in this difficult hour.
That's Bernie Sanders there. Let's speak to Alan Fisher, who's been listening in. He joins us from Washington, D.C. via Skype. And Alan, I guess it doesn't come as a surprise, does it?
No, he's really been politically dead man walking since Super Tuesday. That was really when Bernie Sanders lost momentum. You remember that Joe Biden didn't do well in the first three contests, in the caucuses and the primaries, but then he came back from the political dead in South Carolina. After that, he immediately got the endorsement from Pete Buttigieg, from Amy Klobuchar. That was significant and important for him, and he did very well on Super Tuesday. It made things very, very difficult for Bernie Sanders. But when he talks about how he has moved the political debate in the United States, there's no doubt over the last 4 years, he's done exactly that. People are now talking about providing some sort of universal health care in the United States. They are talking about free state college for people in the United States. They are talking about income equality because of the issues that Bernie Sanders has raised. Now, Bernie Sanders did not give an endorsement to Joe Biden. That's not surprising because you don't give away all your cards at the table. He wants to make sure that a lot of the ideas, a lot of the things that he's been talking about will form the platform of the Democratic convention and also the Democratic election platform as they move in to the presidential campaign. Now, you remember 4 years ago that Bernie Sanders lost to Hillary Clinton. He gave his support then, but many of his supporters did not want to vote for Hillary Clinton and stayed away from the polls. That led to a lot of people pointing fingers at those supporters saying they let Trump in. I don't think that'll happen this time round because Bernie Sanders describes Donald Trump as the most dangerous president the United States has had in its history. He says that Joe Biden is a good guy. He will try and rally his supporters to support Joe Biden come November.
And for Joe Biden, the way is now open for him, but he does have a problem, doesn't he, in the sense that he doesn't have the platform of his opponent.
Some people would say that can be a positive and it can be a negative. He doesn't get to hold big rallies. He doesn't get free media in important swing states, but then he doesn't stand in front of the White House every night and do what Donald Trump does, which ends up with a great deal of criticism on Twitter and also in the media commentariat. Donald Trump has said that Bernie Sanders has essentially lost the nomination because of Democratic Party machinations. It's what he said back 4 years ago, and he's appealed to Bernie Sanders voters to come and vote for him. The difficulty that Donald Trump, of course, has is that many people who would describe themselves as democratic socialists don't automatically see Donald Trump as a natural home. And Donald Trump is doing that for a big reason, because he hasn't been able to grow his own base. So to do that, you try and take away from someone else's base, which in this case would be Joe Biden. But certainly in all the matchups that we see, Joe Biden beats Donald Trump in many of the key states in the election come November. But the election is in November, not now.
Exactly. All right, Alan, thanks very much indeed. Alan Fisher there, Washington, D.C.